I haven't attempted to use Chat GPT to create my own app yet. Okay, you're way ahead of me on this because you've actually done it, and I haven't even done my first attempt at it. All
It's
right.
surprisingly easy, Colin. It's
Well,
really,
then
again,
it's I have a shot. It's all right.
well, I
Um,
again, I just keep I can't say enough. I just keep liking Chat GPT more and more and more. They just keep making it better. And so the thing I've
mhm.
noticed lately is it it does a better job than ever of asking you questions. It didn't
Mhm.
really used to do that at all. And now you ask it something or you tell it something, and instead of it just responding with, like, okay, that's the best information I have, I'll make a response, it now will come back and ask a clarifying question.
Yep. Yep.
And that's a big deal. It really, it's getting you to elicit better prompts, really, is what it's doing.
And I have Chat GPT right now. So it is speaking in a lot of responses the way I talk on stage.
Which is terrifying, quite frankly. But
It is terrifying. Okay. Okay. It's like I have been cloned, motherfuckers.
and I actually do think I've noticed that with some of my stuff as well, and I actually don't like that
Mhm.
because it's a weird thing. Is on the one hand, you're trying to train it to give you your voice and your tone and stuff, but
Right.
there can get to be a point where if you aren't setting up these multiple GPTs now, then when you go in and you actually ask it to do something that maybe isn't directly under your brand,
Mhm.
it's giving you this thing that sounds like it is, and that's
Okay.
not
And
helpful.
so here's what I do when it gives me the something I'm asking for kind of some serious information on, and it gives it in the Colin Honey Badger style. It's like, okay, I we need to get a little bit of tone. It's like, hey, chat, that was great. Can you do this for me again? Only do it as if it was, and I'll mention some news personality. Okay.
Yeah, you could. Yeah, you're right. You could say,
Okay. It's
"Could you
like
please
in the style
rewrite it in
of
the style of David Muir from ABC News?"
exactly,
Right? Yeah,
exactly,
yeah,
exactly. Okay. And then it's like it goes much more.
yeah.
One time I was just kind of thinking out loud and I say, okay, okay, I want on this one, it's like we need to be a little bit more formal, do it very much Jack Webb, just the facts, man, kind of style. And then it went way over the edge. And it really is like as I'm reading it, it's like I can literally and hear from Dragnet for those of you the uninitiated in terms of who Jack Webb, just the facts, man. I can literally hear his voice from that show I watched as a child. I don't have to worry about missing on cultural references with Chat GPT, which
Right.
might make for a little bit of laziness. But I think one of the directions I kind of see this going is as a customer facing chatbot. However, I think it's important that we know who's coming in and going through and getting this information. Okay, so if Travis Kelsey's agent is coming in, we want to know that. If Midlothian High School band is coming in looking for a fundraiser, we want to know that. Okay. And we want to have some way to get back in touch with them. And so I like the idea of it generating a link that it sends them after they either if they give us email, it sends it via email, give us mobile number, it sends a text. Okay. And then once they go through everything, it ideal world, we would get an email with all that information
Right.
too.
Right.
And so so and it's like, look, these are early days and it's super, super exciting.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's funny is again, everything happens so fast now that sometimes I catch myself feeling like they're not early days. Like, what do you mean the early days? ChatGPT's been out for a year now. You go,
Mhm.
yeah, yes, that's all.
Yeah,
Look at what it's doing.
I think I started my Chat GPT last subscription last March.
Yeah,
Okay. It has gotten better at everything it does way, way faster than I've gotten better at anything I've ever done.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. That's a great
All
way of
right.
framing it. Yeah,
And for people who are looking at this and they're saying, oh, this isn't ready for prime time yet. Okay. Oh, it's like they made a change. And so this doesn't work anymore. Or it's like, okay, this will never replace me. It's like, I don't think you want to take that bet. I really don't.
I agree.
Um,
I agree.
yeah,
We're being sort of reductive in that, but at that reductive level, I agree. I think there's a lot to work out still. I think
no
there are going to
question.
be, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, no question about that at all. There is a ton that's got to get worked out.
I also another thing I've noticed is we're all sort of conditioned to become loyal to brands,
Mhm.
right? And so when I first got into AI stuff, I purchased an AI subscription to a platform called Jasper.
Right.
Still exists.
Hmm.
Jasper was existed before ChatGPT did. So I had used Jasper for months and before,
Hmm.
and then GPT came out and everybody was buzzing about GPT and I was like, okay, that's great, but it's just doing the same thing that Jasper does and I've been doing that on Jasper for months. I don't know. It was weird, like the GPT folks just did a better job with marketing. But GPT got better faster than
Hmm.
Jasper.
Hmm.
And so I watched that happen and I had signed up for a 1-year commitment and I was like, look, I'm going to get my money's worth for now and then I'll reevaluate when the year is up. And so that's exactly what I did. And when I looked at it dispassionately at the end of the year, it was pretty clear to me that GPT was evolving faster than Jasper was, and their price was lower. And so
Hmm.
at the end of my year, I didn't renew with Jasper and I went to GPT. Now, at the same, and then right after that, I got into Midjourney.
Hmm.
And Midjourney kept improving and kept improving. And then, you know what? Da Vinci and Stable Diffusion and other text to image ones were out. And it was the same thing as I was like, one of the things I learned is I like to get geeky sometimes, and I have to
Hmm.
be careful about not chasing the newest shiny thing
Hmm.
because then you're spending more time relearning the new tool, relearning the new tool, relearning the new tool that you could have spent just getting shit done on the tool that you had that was functional.
Right.
And so I was like, nope, I'm with Midjourney. I'm staying with Midjourney. And then I got to a point where, again, I could get a better price if I committed to a full year. So I got a full year of Midjourney. Now I'm watching as I use GPT, and this fee calculator is a good example. Is now because Dolly is owned by OpenAI, right? They're
And it's
integrating
included in
Chat
the price.
GPT and Dolly, so when I set up the fee calculator, it made that thumbnail image with a calculator with a hypnotic spiral on it
Hmm.
without me even having to ask. It
Hmm.
just did it. It said, how's this for a profile image? And I was like, get out of here.
Yeah.
And so
So,
now I'm seeing that brand improve to the point where I'm like, okay, when my year is up with Midjourney, I may be letting that go. And I think that's a kind of
right.
interesting process that's
So,
happening.
so one of the things that I've gone in a different direction with choice on this one part, and that's even though it would save me money on the short term, I am not doing any annual commitments on anything. And here's what I'm doing instead. It's like I'm finding out who my friends are that are using some of these other tools, and I'm watching their output and my output. It's like I knew just based on the look and feel of it that you were using Midjourney before you even told me you were using Midjourney. Okay. It's like, and stylistically, it's like that style is not exactly my jam, which is why I'm more on Leonardo at the moment, but I'm really, really close to saying, you know what? I think I'm just going to drop Leonardo and just stick with Dolly for right now until there's something that else that really, really blows me away. I think this stuff is changing way too fast, and there's too much instability in the companies to commit for a year for
And
me.
that's the lesson that I feel like I'm learning in the past couple months is I'm like I probably won't do year commitments anymore after the two that I currently have. I think you're right about that. I think I'm
It,
going to be like no, cuz it is it's just it's
it's the
changing too
Wild West
fast.
right now.
Well, and look at and it has so many parallels to the dot com boom and bust, right? And you look at how
And crypto.
yeah. But I mean, look at the very concrete example of like when they fired when OpenAI fired Sam Altman, they went from being like the most popular mainstream company with Chat GPT, right? To like looking like it was all going to implode in a weekend. And I had just purchased my 1 year, and I was like, what? Like, it really looked like maybe the whole thing was going to fall
Mm-hmm.
apart and go under for a while. And I'm like, geez, Luis, it's very volatile. It really is.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm on a newsletter called the TLDR AI news
Right.
list.
Yeah, we both get
We
that.
both do that, right? And they're tracking, they're like people that like eat, breathe, and sleep AI, and they
Mm-hmm.
send out a newsletter every day, right? And
Yeah.
the number of things that are out there that normal non-AI experts like you and me are not aware of is just, and that's really made me realize I was like, oh, this is .com all over again. Like the amount
And
of money that is being thrown at AI. Like,
so just so you know, when you say that this is the .com era all over again, my wife and I met while we were both working at the same .com together. Just throwing that out there. Okay, so I need to be really careful about this AI shit. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, and it's like it there's also there's I feel like some of the crypto bros and their sleazy, dishonest scamminess, because it's like they're trying to revive crypto right now, but it's like they've lost trust. And in spite of there being a spike in Bitcoin, it's like all of the different um scams that took place, it's like it's never going to reach the potential that it had. And and so I do think it's really very much there's a lot of it's like we all got to be careful with everything we're doing here.
yeah,
And yeah, no, it's wild. But I think the bottom line here is that those of us who are performing hypnotists can leverage this to take away gigs from our competition who are doing pulling rabbits out of the hat and card tricks that nobody will ever remember. And we can start doing a better job of charging a fair price for our services and getting away from the race to the bottom. It's like, hey, I think this can be, I think, and I think performing hypnotists, I think an awful lot of us are really well equipped to adapt to this technology.
Yeah, I agree. Colin, how much more work are you getting done by using AI? Can you put your
Oh
finger
my
on like
God.
an I
Oh
feel
my,
like I get 3 times as much work done in this
it's like I
and
haven't tried to quantify it yet.
yeah.
So it's like, so I'm working on a new stand up routine. And what I have gotten done with work, I started on Thursday with help from my boy Chat. It's, let's see here. I put Thursday, Friday. I didn't do anything on Saturday. I did a little bit this morning on Sunday. So basically, 2.5 days. I've gotten way more done in that 2.5 days than on the same routine I would have been able to accomplish in a month. Okay.
Yeah, that's the way I
It's
feel
like,
too. Yeah.
it's not okay. And what I'm doing with it, it's not just the number of hours I'm putting in, it's the speed at which I'm making something better.
That's a great point. It's
Okay.
the tasks have different factors of efficiency sort of.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
a
And
great
like
point.
here's another aspect of this particular piece. Okay. It's like, and this is part of still part of the process, but I don't have, I'm able to get some of the results before I actually execute. When I'm working on a new piece of stand-up material, part of the process is going to open mics and working on that material, performing it out in public. I'm able to get a ton of feedback that lets me see how it is and what I can do to get it tighter, better, more right for me. Whereas it's like going to an open mic, I can't just do that every single night. I got other things I got to do. Okay. And so it's like I've gotten the equivalent of 6 open mics on this one piece
Yeah.
already. Now,
Yeah.
I'm gonna work at an open mics, but
Because you need to hear how they respond to the timing and
it
right that kind of stuff
I
and
need to
yeah.
hear me doing it
Yeah.
in front of people,
Yeah.
it's like, but it's like this has gotten it so much better, so much faster.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, when I started literally at the very beginning, all I was doing was writing blog articles with it. And I
Mhm,
have an English degree and I used to be an English teacher, right? And I found that I could write on my own from scratch. I can write a 1,000 word blog article in an hour to an hour and 15 minutes.
mhm,
In my experience talking with other people, that's faster than most other people can
mhm,
write a blog article, right? But still, that's my number. With at the time it was Jasper. It's the same in this
mhm,
task, whether it's Jasper or Chat GPT. I can produce a 1,000 word blog article completely done in 20 minutes. So I could do
mhm,
3 times as many blog articles per hour with GPT as I can
mhm,
on my own. Immediate value, right? Then over time I started doing website copy, sales
mhm,
copy, proposals to present at conferences. Um,
mhm.
I mean, it just kept growing more and more. I kept going, well, why not try it? And I just kept doing more. And you know, the amount of stuff that I've generated in the past 6 months, I would say, is probably equivalent to the amount of stuff I've generated in the past 2 years.
Yeah,
Maybe even
no,
three
I would
years.
I would definitely say that, and I don't know the exact time frame, so I'm going to be conservative with this. But in terms of creative output, the last 4 months have been the most productive of my life.
It's awesome.
Okay. And I'm doing better stuff, which that's the part that should really
That's what a
scare
lot
you
of people
all.
don't get, right? A lot of
Yeah.
people think that when you say something like that, you're just having it generate you just vomit out a
No.
bunch of stuff and you're taking and using it. And you're like, no, it's a process. You
Yeah,
take it and then you work it, but you work it faster and you make it better. And yeah,
right.
yeah.
No. And it's like, I'm going to say this in a funny way, but I'm going to make a really serious point. Okay. Anyone who watches this and thinks, oh, Colin is just having Chat GPT create all of his material for him. No, that's not what's happening, because Chat GPT does not have anywhere close to the level of trauma that it's been through that I have. So it can't come up with some of these really messed up premises. Okay. It can't. Okay. It's like what I'm giving it as a starting point, and then the feedback, the back and forth. Here's it's like, and that's just one thing that we're doing with it. Okay. That's just one thing. And it's like, and I know a lot of local comedians here who have heard that I am using Chat GPT in material really have their nose bent out of joint.
Well,
And
here,
I don't
it,
care.
it has no ego, right?
Yeah.
So if you were to sit down with a colleague, which there are plenty of good reasons to do that, right? We should all do that from time to time. But when you sit down with a colleague and you throw a new idea their way, their own aesthetic preference, their ego
Mm-hmm.
informs their response. And often, in my 20 years in the business, can lead to like digressions or tangents, right? As you work out
Mm-hmm.
that. GPT doesn't do that. It just keeps supporting
Right.
you
Right.
and reflecting back to you and adding, and so you have to self monitor, right?
Right.
But again, the efficiency there is so much more powerful in some ways than workshopping it with a colleague.
Oh, way, way more. It's like, let's use a real world example. Let's say you are a major late night talk show host. Okay. You are going to have a comedy writer's room working for you. There's going to be one who's going to be the head writer, might also be the showrunner, but it doesn't really matter. WGA minimums basically make it so that each writer on a show like that is coming at a minimum $250,000 a year. They have 6 of them typically. Okay. So for starters, ChatGPT is saving me $1.5 million a year. Okay. Now, here's the next thing that happens. You put 6 comedy writers in a room together. You have a bunch of things happening. One is, well, it's actually 2, but there's going to be a lot of fighting and fucking. Okay. And that gets in the way of creating more material. Okay. You got to worry about who's going to just decide to show up today.
Right,
Okay.
right.
And getting them to do what you actually told them to do. And it's like, and I'm not saying that it's like being in one of those writers' rooms, it's like people who've gone from being a writer in one of those rooms to being an A-level comedian will forever talk about their time as a writer here or there. I'm getting a lot of the work that Jimmy Fallon got done for $20 a month,
Yeah.
not 1.5 mil a year.
Right.
Okay.
Right. It's a great
And
point.
and I get to ask it to tweak things like this or that. I get to, it's like I even used it to settle a family argument over whether or not, what was it? A
Trout.
trout is seafood. Okay. And and it's like it's like the possibilities are endless. It's like I get to ask all kinds of questions that just come up and have it write different things. And yeah, it's like and then this app piece here and the image piece through Dolly, it's like all that
Yeah.
all that
Yeah.
it's like it's like it just, yeah, there's some scary parts to all this, but there's also some parts that are empowering lots of us.
Agreed. Agreed.